Good morning everyone and welcome to the shop. Everyone was complaining about the background music being too loud last time, so this time I listened and I made it even louder. Just kidding. This is a bit of a family heirloom. This is an old sort of utility trailer that my great-grandpa, one of those two on my mom's side, mom texted me the answer. He worked in the oil field and he made this ostensibly, I think, to haul oil field piping, so it's designed to get long and hold long objects and be incredibly strong, which is why it is so very overbuilt. This is a very special trailer. It's actually made out of car suspension, which a lot of people did back in the day, either that or truck beds, but this is obviously too small for that. And honestly, it's held up pretty well, but it has been sitting for 15 plus years since the last time it was used, and then probably 10 years before that. So it needs a few things, chiefly wheels, but also nothing is right here and it has no lights. And I have about 6 hours to get this thing fixed because we're going down to the lake because my family's decided that they're selling the place and we need to go through some things. So the first thing to do is probably to get some rolly round boys on it, and I already took care of that sort of. So this is the suspension on this thing is off of like an Audi 1000 or something like that. So it's like 4x100 with this enormous hub center. So trailer wheels are obviously not going to work, but I can just go down to the local used tire store and get some pretty dang nice condition 14-inch tires, put them on there, and Bob's your uncle now. I just got to get this thing off the ground somehow. I don't know why I did this to myself, but Jake, why isn't it on jack stands already from when you took the wheels off? Because I took the wheels off at 7:30 this morning and I was not about to get out the jack and jack stands. I just kicked them out from underneath the trailer. It's fine, everything's fine. Slippy slidey, slippy slidey, slippy slidey. No. I had a friend over here, they could just lift this thing up and it would be super easy. You get the joy of wheel bolts. Wheel hub spins really nice though. Not going anywhere. Yes. Yeah, that'll hold the weight, sure. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Also, and for some reason known only to people who are long dead, one of these wheel bolts is a different size than the others. These impacts click when they get tight, so that technically makes this a torque wrench. All right, that's the video. Thanks for watching. No, unfortunately, we still have all that other stuff I mentioned. So to that end, there is a big bag of, well, 2 bags of stuff from Tractor Supply. Why am I so winded? Bags of stuff from Tractor Supply, because this guy here is missing some hardware. They don't do the thing no more. So let's see, there's just a lock nut of some description under there, and that comes off. I got a rebuild kit. I got a trailer-in Lichten kit, not LED, incandescent for the nice warm glow of nostalgia. Yeah, here we go. Now, this says carry-on trailer, so I'm guessing this is specific to their trailers, but nothing is specific to anything when you have a cutting disc and a welder, so we'll make that work. Then I got a premium lock pin, because yeah, why not? And oh yeah, some trailer chains, I forgot about that. Safety chains. Right now this just has yep, so probably gonna cut that off and weld those on because there's really no provisions for anything else. But let's walk around this trailer here for a quick second. First of all, this tongue extends in theory. In reality, My doctor tells me this is perfectly normal. So the idea was that you could have really long things on this trailer and extend the tongue out to be ridiculously long, probably by pulling this out or something. I don't know. But then of course, the front folds down. The back also folds down. Decently structural, absurdly thick steel. But the star of the show is these welds. Look at everything going on here. Beautiful welds, all either just really nice out of the box or ground a little bit. I don't think any of these were ground. I mean, you can see where he pulled the puddle through there. Look at how absurdly over-engineered just this section is. You have a big triangle. This is triangulated twice over. This crazy kick down to get around the torsion arm here, because this is a torsion springer suspension setup. And then you've got more triangulation and the shock here. We should definitely find some Bilsteins that are the right length for this, just to have the shiny yellow shocks. And then look at that, the top hat mount modified just to fit there. This trailer was originally painted bright orange for visibility, but since it's not going to be getting used all that often, I don't think I'm going to retain the orange color. I'd like this to match my truck, so I'm thinking light blue frame, dark blue wheels, and then stain this wood a darker brown, and then black on the inside of here, probably maybe a grippy sort of bed liner or something to make that a little more practical. But the star of the show for real now is these trailer lights. These aren't trailer lights. I don't know what these are, but they're very pretty. They're not sticking around on this trailer though. These are going to come off. What the heck? Why are they? What? The original wiring ran through like conduits. You can see the swing axle sort of thing going on under here, whatever that all is. Looks like it has a big Watts linkage going to the torque tube. Is this a De Dion axle? No. I mean, a De Dion axle is powered, but this looks very similar. Huh. Well, at any rate, it's a trailer, a do be trailerin'. So I need to figure out what I need to get this all off, get that replaced. That's fun. Cut this chain off, weld the new chain on, and then cut out all the old wiring. And then Robert should be our uncle. Yes. Stop doing that. So I'm thinking I use everything except for this guy because it's already in there. This spring goes on top of it. That goes through it. Oh yeah. It's already working way better than I expected it to. What are the odds? Pretty good apparently. 20 millimeter. I just guessed that. I ended up being right. I'm so good. Oh, the action on that. Well, that didn't work at all. The internet probably tells me how to do this. Knowledge is out there for those who will listen. Oh, okay, that feels a lot more positive. Oh, yes. So pretty much just replaced this spring and this part. Left all of the rest of this in there because it is actually a riveted in pin, which I kind of prefer. I don't know what all that hardware is for, but hey. Look at her go. I'll hit all this with some, I don't know, grease or something. Oh, I love that locking action. What a wonderful little $20. Oh, and let's put our obnoxiously expensive and fancy pin in there for reasons. Well, that actually looks like something. If anyone was ever wondering what my least favorite tool is, it's this. Cleaner metal has not existed outside of like skillet. Those guys never swear. Kind of lame if you ask me. Jake, why is your property always such a mess? Why do you think? Yeah, Jake's back porch fab shop. Look at this, look at this. We're so official that we have the world's most crooked but waterproof GCDF, GCIF, FGI, CFGIF, GF. All right, comment section, do your worst. I mean, I'm not gonna claim greatness or anything, but I'm also not gonna claim to know what I'm doing. What settings did I have the welder on? I don't remember, and I was holding my piece with the ground, so you know. But hey, that's definitely an adequate strength test. So now we just gotta get some lights on this hoss, and then she's good to go. So it seems like every trailer light expects sheet metal, and this ain't sheet metal, so I had to make these little brackets, brackets that I can bolt through and then stick the headlights or the taillights on. Yeah, that'll work nicely if I can remember where my hardware went. This headlight kit, or this taillight kit, uses quarter 20 hardware with a metric head on it. So those get to be spacers. And she's done. Got the excess bundled up under there, tied together so it's not going anywhere, and then just, you know, normal thing. Hope that's long enough. Should be. We'll see. And then got our side marker lights. I know this isn't really where they're supposed to be, but it's the only flat piece of sheet metal on the entire trailer. So that's where they are for now. And then we have our rears, brakes, side markers, pretty secure. So I think the only thing left now is to put it on the truck. Just see how it looks. Might be that I could use a bit more drop on my hitch, but she's a thing of beauty, Clark. And I think at this angle I could actually put the tailgate down and ride a motorcycle right into her. Actually, we'll have to try that here in a second, but first, let's see if all our lights work. Hazards and heads. Well, how about that? Ain't that just the most beautiful thing you ever seen? Does not quite fit. Actually, I believe. Well, with the trailer put together, we headed on down to Oklahoma to go to the lake house, with the Ranger doing Ranger things with all 80 of its horsepower, working as hard as it could to do highway speeds with the trailer behind it, until I felt a wobble in the wheel and realized that my lug nuts were attempting to leave the chat. And it was actually worse than that, because I put the spacers on this car and they let the stock lug studs protrude, which then wore divots in the back of the wheel and let them get loose, and it actually spun a stud inside of the spacer. So we had to call a mobile mechanic to come out, and he drilled and drilled and drilled and did a whole bunch of stuff for a whole like hour and a half on Memorial Day weekend. And then we finally managed to use a hydraulic jack to bust the stuck lug stud off, and then we were able to get down to the lake and load up the trailer with stuff. And everything went fine from there until it was time to leave, because, well, with a loaded trailer and a steep hill and 80 horsepower, too high just wasn't going to cut it. Does not have the power, so try this a different way. That does not hold. Alright. Fuck me. We're back in Kansas and everything's intact somehow. The trailer did great. I was checking the hubs intermittently to make sure they weren't getting too hot. They didn't get hot at all because I neglected to grease them or anything before we left. I'll be doing that later when I eventually take this apart to restore it. For now, it's just chained up to a much larger trailer back here so that it doesn't walk away. But let's take a look at everything that I brought back real quick just to wrap this video up. So some of the stuff that we brought back, this really neat old vacuum, which works. I have cleaned it up, tested it, everything's good. The hose here is completely shot, so I've got a new hose coming. I went and bought an extendy wand and a hardwood floor attachment, but we found another one of these down there that has the hardwood floor attachment with it, so I'll have a gray one of these as well. Really neat old vacuum. Sort of a wet dry vac style of thing here, and then a foot pedal there. Moving on, we've got all the Star Trek motion pictures on video cassette. I sound like the dude at the beginning of the coming soon to own on video cassette, but this is how I watched all of these back in the day. This is how I saw all these for the first time, and I have these backwards for some reason. Hang on, I gotta flip these around so you can actually see the Enterprise. There we go. Hell yeah. Anyway, yeah. Do I have a VHS player? No, not at the moment. Moving on, we've got Grandpa's, his boat here. It's a Gropner Hydrospeed, which, as near as I can tell, German company, very difficult to find information on, but I was able to go to the local hobby shop and I bought some, let's see here, some Traxxas nickel metal batteries, new battery holder for the controller, these horrific Traxxas connectors that I soldered up. This thing has a mechanical speed controller that's forward and reverse with micro switches, and they grabbed me this Traxxas prop that I put on that is way too small and it just cavitates like crazy. So I've got a factory prop coming from Germany, and then we have a replacement. Come on. There we go. And we have a replacement Futaba controller and transmitter and receiver, which works great. So hopefully I can get a prop in and I can go rip this thing down the river downtown. We've got this pretty nifty toolbox. All the drawers run okay. That's kind of nice. We've got some miscellaneous stuff, really cool rod reel, pipe cutter, this cup. My grandpa and I had the same initials, so that's pretty funny. And some neat old Boeing memorabilia. 737, one team, some Boeing keychains. I think these are keychains? I don't know. They're kind of neat, though. Oh, yes, the Bud Light light. This was hanging above the pool table. I didn't grab the pool table, but I grabbed the Bud Light light. Apparently, these go for like $600 on eBay. Absolutely ridiculous. Hi, cat. But they look really cool, and I'm eventually hoping to finish my basement to some extent, so one of the things that it needs is lighting, and that is lighting, isn't it, Eva? Yeah. There's a third one in the kitchen, but I grabbed these three, whatever these chairs are. They're really neat, kind of mid-century-ish. They don't have anything on them except for, like, asset tags for petroleum information. Oh, it looks like they had stickers under them at one time, but those are long gone. Yeah, but look at that, they're rubber isolated, and these are decent chairs. They're incredibly comfortable, and they're really good for my little hangout spot here on my front porch. I just need to get this mess to stop leaking on it. They added, before I bought the house, they added porch onto this entryway thing, and it's so jank. Yeah, we put flashing up there, but it didn't really help. I think I need to also caulk the flashing, and then maybe we'll have better luck keeping it dry. Moving into my mess of an office, don't mind the windows, I haven't bought new blinds yet. But moving into the office, we have the big thing, which was this tanker desk that I couldn't find a brand name on, but it is built like a shit brick house. And I mean, my previous desk was a folding table, so this is a massive improvement. I actually have room to store things. Imagine that. The decadence truly never ends. And then it's got, you know, little tables That one holds ThinkPads. Got these speakers, Realistic from Radio Shack. I think the Boat was probably from Radio Shack as well. Also, probably from Radio Shack is this Heathkit amplifier over here. It's a mono amp. I did not expect it to work, but it just works immediately. So if we go ahead and turn that on, whoa, that tube just sparked. That's fun. And then we get a bit of a hum out of this this speaker that I have hooked up to at full range. This thing needs to be recapped, I'm sure, but it does work. You can see the nice warm glow there. It took me a minute to find a song that I have rights to, but the volume knob was completely seized up on this and the whole thing was covered in cigarette smoke, but it cleaned up nicely, and this isn't even scratchy. You turn it on and off by turning the bass knob all the way down. It's kind of a diabolical system, but it works. It works great. It sounds okay. It'll sound a lot better once I spend $100 on a recap kit, but you know, money. So there we go. That is the trailer fixed enough to go get a bunch of stuff that I needed for the house from the estate of my grandparents, which is pretty bittersweet, but it's kind of poetic using one side of the trailer from one side of the family and going to the other side of the family and picking stuff up. I don't know, but there you go. That's that. Next video with the trailer. Hopefully we will make it look a little prettier. I have some ideas, but we'll see how long it takes for me to get around for that. We still have to go back down to get more stuff. There's another vacuum down there, another identical vacuum to that one, except it's hammered gray. So probably gonna pick that up because parts, at a bare minimum, I mean, it probably works, so I don't know. And I gotta clean and finish out my basement. Now that I've got a trailer, I can actually haul stuff to the dump. I've got some fallen branches to get out of here. You've seen how cluttered this place is, and that's because my basement is full of trash from my previous marriage and other things. So I need to get all that out of there, and then I can turn it into usable storage instead of whatever's happening in here. Thanks for watching.